7 Amazing Facts About North Pole. The North Pole sounds so mysterious. For children it is a place where Santa Claus lives and makes toys, but for adults it is an exciting topic of discussion. The North Pole contains 30% of world's oil reserves. There are so many things about the North Pole that you still don't know, and some of these things are going to amuse you. Here are 7 things you didn't know about the North Pole. Number 7. North Pole is just ice. If you thought there was some land beneath North Pole, then you are mistaken. Unlike the South Pole, which lies over the continent of Antarctica, there is no land beneath the North Pole but more of a floating Arctic ice sheet that expands during colder months and shrinks to half its size in the summer. The North Pole is just an ice block that is 2 to 3 meters thick, floating on the Arctic Ocean that is 4,000 meters deep. And because it is made entirely of ice, its size changes as per seasons. During winters it becomes as big as the United States of America, and during the summers it shrinks almost half of its size as the ice melts. Robert E. Pray discovered the North Pole on April 6, 1909. It may sound funny, but he reached the pole on a dog sled. Number 6. No one owns the North Pole. We just learned that North Pole is not a piece of land. Since it is a block of ice, it means that no one can own it. The North Pole is a topic of international dispute because countries in the past have tried to claim it for its oil reserves. It is believed that the pole contains more than 30% of world's oil reserves. Countries like Russia, the US, Denmark, and Norway have tried to claim it in the past, but all were unsuccessful. Russia even went to the North Pole using a mini-submarine to hoist its flag and claim the land. The United Nations disapproved the move, but countries are still working to find the solution for this so-called problem. What will happen if you bring compass to North Pole? Continue watching. Number 5. The Earth has 2 North Poles. Yes, there is the geographic North Pole and the magnetic North Pole. And both these poles keep changing. The geographic North Pole changes as seasons change, as a direct result of ice formation and its melting. The magnetic North Pole actually changes daily according to the Earth's movement. We know it is confusing, but that's how it is. Also, because of global warming, as ice continues to melt, both the North Poles continue to shift. Yes, global warming is real. Number 4. Every direction is south at the North Pole. Ever wondered what will happen if you take your compass to the North Pole? It is the most north you can ever go. So every direction you look at North Pole will head to the south. The North Pole doesn't have east or west directions. It is pretty scary to stand on the North Pole because it is entirely ice. The closest land mass to the pole is around 700 miles away from its borders. Also, it is continuously moving. North Pole is migrating towards Russia at a crazy rate of 34 miles every year. No matter how cold and dreadful it is, you can have amazing view of the northern lights there. Number 3. The unicorn of the sea lives there. Narwhal is a whale that lives in the Arctic oceans. If rumors are to be believed, many people feel that unicorns are a descendant of these tiny whales. It has a long tusk that is around 6 to 10 feet long. It is believed that the tusk has magical healing powers. Even Queen Elizabeth I was on a quest to get it and spent over £10,000 for one tusk. Unfortunately, only 75,000 of these whales are living today. They are highly endangered because of global warming. Do you know there are hot springs at North Pole? To find out, keep watching. Number 2. You can swim in the water. If that sounds weird to you, we want to let you know that we aren't lying. For a few number of days, the water of the Arctic Ocean is bearable for a good swim. Lewis Gordon Pugh from England swam in a crack of the North Pole in 2007, when the water was at a temperature of 28.7 degrees Fahrenheit. He stayed in the water for almost 19 minutes. He said that the moment he jumped in, his body was on fire. He was in excruciating pain and wanted to give up, but he continued. The North Pole also has hot springs. One of the most popular ones is Chena Hot Spring near Fairbanks. It is open from 7 a.m. in the morning until midnight. Number 1. Residents of the North Pole. Well, Santa Claus, his wife Mrs. Claus, the elves and reindeer aren't the only ones living on the North Pole. Inuit tribes live in Alaska and Canada that come within the Arctic Circle. Other than humans, you will find polar bears on its coast. Other animals that have made the North Pole their home are beluga whales, humpback whales, orca, Arctic foxes, squirrels, Svalbard reindeer, and walruses. Most of these stay in the Arctic Circle and don't go far inside because there's no consistent food supply. Also, you should know that the North Pole doesn't have penguins, you'll only find them at the South Pole. You won't find any polar bears at the North Pole. After reading all this, do you wish to visit the North Pole? Hit like if you liked this video and click on the subscribe button to keep receiving amazement. Click on the bell icon to never miss any update. Have a fine day ahead.